Hey guys, welcome back to the Let's Talk Bikini podcast in our prep series. We are now 6 weeks out from our show, and as predicted in our last episode, we're a little bit dead, a little bit prep brain.
Yeah.
So we're definitely feeling the fatigue lately. But besides that, it's all been going well. We've got my partner back on the show, of course, for our little prep series. So yeah, how are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty much like you said. it's just the energy, isn't it? It's just like I kind of just go a little bit more introverted. A little bit more introverted. I just don't want to deal with people as much. And even the same, it's like we've been pretty quiet all day. So you're like, oh, we should probably speak to each other now.
Yeah.
But
you're feeling it more than me, definitely.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah, I think it's just because my sleep hasn't been great the last couple of nights. And again, I think it's just lower body fat, lipolytics involved and things like that. So no, do you know what? It's one of those things where like, I'm so good though. I'm so happy. I'm so good. I'm just, I'm just drained. But like, I couldn't be more honestly proud of how we're looking at 6 weeks out. We are definitely like at least 2-3 weeks ahead, if I'm honest. Food's still good. I think I like life's still good. There's nothing bad to be. Life's good. It is. Yeah. So like, I know for you felt it a little bit more, probably the last, probably like 5 days. It's not been bad, but you just definitely felt a bit like, just a bit more preppier in the last probably 5 days. It hasn't been long.
Yeah, I'd probably say it was a little bit self-inflicted, to be quite honest. On Friday, I did a very hard leg session. Whereas like in prep, of course, we want to try and fight to keep our strength, to keep our muscle tissue, etc. But I definitely know I pushed it too far on Friday. I'm very good at pushing things too far, and I just went in and just smash all these PBs, and like to the point where I was literally, my head was going to explode with every single rep I was doing. Like it's one of those things that you don't really realize it. Like when you're so driven, you're like, let's go. Like, well, that's my personality, right? I need to be pulled back. I don't need to be pushed, which a lot of athletes, quite good athletes are like. I like that. But definitely pushed it a little bit too far with my training. And then the next few days after that, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I had a little bit of chronic fatigue. So all this kind of standard, like, body aches. I had a migraine for like days on end. So that was self-inflicted. So now it's just like, okay, all right, we're going to go in, and yes, we want to train to fight. We want to fight to train to keep the tissue, but we can't be pushing ourselves too far.
Yeah, it's a fine balance now. It's more so like it's risk to reward. So like definitely, I look at this maybe like, I guess from a male aspect as well, there's certain reps, like, do you take them? For me, I probably would. But like if you're doing a big compound movement, if it's a squat variation or like, do you know what I mean, sort of thing, would you take that last rep if form is a bit more vulnerable, if it's going to push the CNS over the line? But you need to push that line. You need to know where that line is. Without that, you can't. It's years of experience to know where that line is. But at the end of the day, like, I had the mentality being like, if that's the rep that makes me look better, I'll fucking take it. And when I'm in the gym, it's just like, I will take that muscle to a failure point. Will I make it to a point where the form drops below fucking, I don't know, 60, 50%? Probably not. But I'm there to bring the best. So like, if I get on stage and I'm like, oh, not happy, or if I do a check-in where I'm not happy, I'm like, I'll blame that rep that I didn't take.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And by all means, doesn't mean that if you're at the end of the prep, don't go in and don't not train hard. Like, to be quite honest, it's very, very rare that you will have someone that pushes it too far. So definitely, fight to get the extra reps and get, hold that strength. I think I was a little bit, I wasn't training next to Kai Green. I was felt a bit pressured. I was like, okay, make sure these, I was doing pistol squats if anyone knows what they are, they're very difficult. And I was just like, just hammered myself in them, and then went straight into squats and did extra sets and everything. But that's just my personality. And now I just know I've got to just
Yeah, you came back. Check. Yeah, I remember you came back because I had 4 days rest. Well, I had 2 rest days and then 2 set rest days. So I had 4 days rest, and you came back and you were pretty fried. Definitely on the Sunday, you were pretty fried.
Yeah. So I went to the gym on that Saturday. I still did my session. It was upper body, which is obviously less demanding compared to lower body, luckily. But it was the worst session ever. You weren't training because you had a couple of days of refeed and resting, but like, man, I swear I was doing 1 set per 5 minutes. I was like, my brain was just like tick, 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 tick. And yeah, anyway.
You were, I looked at the watch. I was like, she's been there a while.
Yeah, it was a very slow session. But I got through it.
Yeah.
Did my cardio the next day. And then I just progressively was getting worse on the Sunday. And I was like, okay, I think I need to listen to my body and just rest this afternoon instead of finishing my steps. I've gotten all my training done for the week. I've got all my cardio done for the week. Just let my body just chill this afternoon so I can go into the next week nice and strong. Woke up Monday still a bit fried, but came good by
the weeks
by Tuesday at least.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think we've talked about this as boundaries right now, especially at 6 weeks out. Like, it's just that, like, we don't really get to be, as much as we work for ourselves and run our own businesses, you're kind of not selfish because we live in a service business. We are there to serve clients and deliver them a 7-star result and service, right? So it is a 24/7 round the clock job to an extent. Even when we put our phones away in the evening, our brain's still thinking. And it's just setting those boundaries in place, being like, it's being realistic with our workloads in the day. It's being smart with our time management and things like that. And it's just being very picky with where I'm spending my time. Like, truthfully, do I want to go on a rest day and and see someone and have coffee with someone that I don't really want to? Or do you know what I mean? It's just being very selective with our time management and setting boundaries in place. Like, I know I have to in the evenings because my sleep's getting a bit more detrimented. So I have to be like things are getting wound down now by like 6:37 and I'm fucking done. I want to be in pajamas by 7 p.m. now because I want to be in that bed by like 9:30, quarter to 10. Because you just have to have those standards for yourself in order to, the energy's not there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's all about fatigue management. That's the biggest thing in prep, especially the end of prep, right? And that's probably the hardest thing when you have your own business. It's like, I always juggle between the two. I always think like, what's easier for a prep? Is it easier to have a job where you've got to be there at certain times and then you can leave the job and you switch off? Or is it having a business whereas like technically you're working 24/7 around the clock, but you can kind of manage the output a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Do you know what? It's a funny one, isn't it? Because sometimes you're like, it sounds really fucking nice to have a 9-to-5 job. It does sound quite nice sometimes, but then we are in control of our hours. It's where we're like, oh, we'll just do a little bit more. Oh, we'll just reply back. Or do you know what I mean? It's just where our standards are very high for ourselves and our businesses. So we're like, we'll just do an extra 20 minutes. But we know that sometimes 20 minutes is just not worth it. You're good at this. You know, like if I start this, it'll be 2 hours. So I'm not going to start it now. I'll start it tomorrow sort of thing. It's just being very cautious of being realistic with it. How quickly could you do that task? How well can you do that task? And fitting it in with your daily structure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just all comes down to boundaries as well, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's just, that's all it comes down to, being like, where are you spending your time today? Who are you spending your time with? Where is the environment? I think we kind of touched on it last time a little bit with like, we talked about finances with going into a prep. It's kind of the same thing. We kind of have to align being like, okay, over like, if it's a 20-week prep and then we can be doing 3 shows, it's 24 weeks, right? 23, 24 weeks. So over that, you have to be like organized at the beginning half of that, kind of setting yourself up to the back half where you know the last 6 weeks and things like that. And the show, you're going to have 3 weeks where we won't be doing as many consultation calls and things like that, whatever it is. So it's kind of backloading the work to give us a bit more downtime now onwards. Again, it's just long-term organization.
Yeah, I agree with that. Pros of having your own business, being an online coach, is we can do that, right? We can be quite strict, and we started doing that this week, being like, okay, like I'm not taking on consult calls, or I'm not doing many, right? Or we can, even when we get pickier towards the end, if we really want to, we can be like, yep, cool, I'm not taking on new clients for this period, right? So I guess there's a benefit of that in terms of like we can manage our workload ourselves and be picky with that. But then on the flip side, we're working 24/7. There could be like when you own your own business, your emotions are like up and down, up and down. Like even just little things are really easy to trigger you. So that's where I find I struggle, I guess, like when if something triggers me and then I feel like I'm out of control, I'm not in control of it, and then that affects me, my sleep, or do you know what I mean? Whereas like I guess if you have a 9-to-5 job, the flip side of it is like you don't really get to control your workload. You've got to show up and have the same workload, but then you get to obviously leave you get to walk out that door and you get to shut off and focus on your training, etc. So I guess like doesn't having your own job, your own business doesn't really make prep that easier. Only towards the end, I would say.
I don't think anything is easy though. Like no, like anything. Like the reason why getting on stage is anyone, or even if someone does a photo shoot, or anyone does a body transformation, or anyone gets on stage, like the reason why the outcome is so good is because it does require sacrifice and it does require hard work. So no matter what you do, there is sacrifices required to that, regardless if you're working scaffolding job, or if you're a beautician, if you work a 9-to-5, if you run your own business. It's the requirements are still the same. You still have to train, you still have to eat, you still have to do your cardio. So the requirements are there, however your job looks. I think I've never had a job, so I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I've done coaching now for close to 9 years. So I guess like from a business aspect, I can emotionally detach from it a little bit more. Like I'm very good now at being like, this is the business, it's not me, or vice versa. Like it could be a negative that happens with a business or a client being like, it's okay. Like this is business. It doesn't affect me personally. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of that emotional attach, very much like in prep. Like I was saying to Cam, like I had felt a little bit of body dysmorphia over the last kind of week, which everyone fucking has body dysmorphia. You look at yourself, you're like, oh, fucking fat. And then you look at yourself and you're like, I've got no face sort of thing. But it's, I don't know where I'm going to go with it. I lost my train of thought there. But I don't think it's anything easy. Anything easy.
Well, I heard this this quote the other day and it really stuck with me. And I'm like, that is a good one. But there's no solutions, only trade-offs. So whatever, right? Because everyone's looking for solutions, especially in fitness and weight loss, etc. Everyone's looking for the easiest solution, right? Everyone's looking for the quick fix. And pretty much like that is what it is, right? There's no solutions, there's only trade-offs. Like if you want to get absolutely shredded and get on stage, like everyone wants a solution of how to have a balanced life in prep, right? There's no solution to having a balanced life, right? There's just a trade-off. Yeah. And the trade-off of getting super lean and looking awesome is like, cool. Like, okay, what's the trade-off? Probably not going to eat out all the time. You can still go eat out, right? But what's the trade-off there? Is just like, okay, if you're going to go eat out, you're going to make sure it's like to the T, clean. It's, maybe have something like a steak or a fish or whatever. Yes, you can't go out and eat whatever the hell you want, and everyone else around you is going to be eating whatever they want. But there's a trade-off, right? So
everything there's, like you say, there is a trade-off. There is, in a sense, like a positive to negative to everything. There's always a pros and cons list, right? That's how it works. And I think definitely in especially in a dieting phase, like anyone that does a dieting phase, obviously a prep and things like that is very different. I'm like, it's just fucking 20 weeks. Just take the hit. Like, I love food. You've made me a very good foodie, but I fucking love my food. Like, I'm just the perfect fat person. But like, I can go 23 weeks without fucking like sushi. Do you know what I mean? Because then I've got the rest of my life with you and the next year to eat sushi. It's not going anywhere. So like things like that, I'm just take the hit, just fucking suck it up. Who cares? And also like look at your calendar ahead of time. Do you know what I mean? Being like, most people know when there's big events, if there's a wedding coming up, just plan for it. It's in fucking 3 months. You're on prep. Organize for it. It's just some of those things where I'm just like, I just have some fucking common sense to it. Like, you have to sacrifice things. It's the same thing. If you go into a relationship, if you do anything, you have to give up something or adapt to achieve what you want to achieve. If you want to move in with someone and you want to build a life with someone, you have to understand they like their thing cooked this way. They like their washing powder facing this way. That's just how it works. So
don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, anyway, I know last time we need to do a prediction.
Yeah. So last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago, we had a prediction of what our scale weight would be. I had
to load mine up because it was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes. What was yours?
You wrote them down on your notes.
Yes. So you predicted you would be 89.5.
Did I?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
You smashed it.
So when did we do this? So that you said Thursday the
2 weeks ago.
29th.
So 29th.
So
yeah.
Thursday the 29th, I weighed in at 91.4. And it's Thursday the 12th now, 88.5. So
so you're a kilo above the goal.
Yeah, or kilo below the goal.
A kilo down. Yeah. Okay. So how many kilos is that in total that you've dropped in 2 weeks?
So it would have been the 26th, right?
29th.
So I was 91.4, and I'm 88.5.
Nearly 3 kilos.
Wow, fuck.
Yeah.
No wonder it fucking sucks. No wonder I felt fucking tired.
Yeah, that's a big drop.
Yeah, and I had a refeed over the weekend. I had 2 days. I had 2 days off training, 3 days off cardio, and I got my weight back up to 90, and then it dropped all the way back down to a new low today, and then we're repeating this weekend.
Yeah. Your prep, like how males respond in a prep versus females respond in a prep is so different.
It's so different, yeah.
Like you need to have like breaks off training. I have no breaks.
Yeah, I think but also like, again, I think women do just recover. Like we know women do recover better and more efficiently than men from a hormonal aspect. I also just think the amount of muscle that males have versus females, I'm not saying I'm big at all, but like the amount of muscle men carry, just the sheer factor of holding that weight every day is more demanding. So it would require more output and more rest to an extent. And also I guess as well, it's the way that, again, training, like I'm very much a training style where I do two sets of things. So I'll build up to like a big working set and I'll do a back off set. I don't have too many intensifiers right now. So there's no real, like I work on, I guess, like a low volume sort of approach and things like that. I guess it's just very different. You can't even compare it. And also you're just literally a male and female, vice versa, two at different ends of the spectrum. Like I'm still very much like, I know you're still growing and developing as a pro, but you are at that pro standard right now. I'm still probably, like we said, I'm probably another 18 months of growing to build a pro worthy physique to an extent. So there's just a big fucking difference. Yeah. And also again, anabolics, like what I'm using, do you know what I mean? Is just completely different.
Yeah. And our predictions my prediction for this, for today.
Yes.
So last 2 weeks ago, I was 58.2. I'm now 56.6. We predicted 56.5, so I'm 100 grams off. Oh,
yeah.
Just 100 grams off.
Don't worry. She was very pissed off today, guys.
I was not happy when I got on that scale, but only 100 grams, I suppose. So that's...
At the end of the day, it's regardless of what we predict, it's a new low. It's a new low for you. And
well, it's 1.6 kilos down. So that's pretty damn good in a prep if you're dropping like 800 grams every week.
What you have to look at is with Steph, your process this time has been, like, I don't compliment you. I give you a good compliment. I'm like, you're doing really well, baby, and things like that. But the fact that your food has not changed in 7-8 weeks, maybe more, 8 weeks, potentially.
I think it's more so 7, but
7.
yeah, 7.
Do you know what? Like, the fact that food hasn't changed, your output hasn't. I think your steps just went up a little bit. I think you went from like.
No, it's been the same. My calories have been exactly the same. So it's been 1650
guys,
to 1850, and then like cardio is the same.
That
is the same.
A pure definition of adherence. Like, that just means like you are responding extremely well. You adhere so well. You're consistently, your work ethic on a day to day, that your body is just like getting better, marinating and consistently improving with very minimal changes. It's how you're conducting yourself on a day to day is phenomenal. And that is the result when you don't need to make very minimal changes. You'll probably go through this prep and there'll probably be 4 changes besides a peak week. Do you know what I mean? You might not even have that. You might not have one more change from now till stage. At 6 weeks out, you might get a change. Who knows? Like, we don't think there's going to be, I don't think Jamie's going to change anything for you today. Because the rate of loss, we said through coffee, the rate of loss that you've had has been above than what you actually needed. So like, you just have to extend that, being like, even if you dropped at a slower rate now, the beginning phase made up for it all as well. So in a sense, you actually, like, this is kind of the dream prep. So like, if anyone does, like, for example, if you do a 20-week prep, ideally you want most of the fat to come off in the first 10 to 12 to 14 weeks. You want most of the body fat to come off then, and then it's just those smaller pulling off bits from there on. Whilst the food's high, whilst energy's good, let's get as much fat off then, and let's just trickle it off towards the end. And that's what you're doing. And it's great to see, especially from your pictures this morning. I was like, fuck. Yeah. You're looking good, baby. You are. I'm really proud.
Yeah. Just my legs always the last area, but that's all us typical females.
But it's the same, isn't it? I could be like, oh, my lower abs, and do you know what I mean? Like, males gets those fatty areas and things like that. It's all genetics where we hold body fat and in a sense, stubborn body fat. It's just how it is. And it's always just that last bit to come in, and that's all you need. Like, that's it. You don't need to be ready tomorrow. You don't need to be ready next week. We've got 6 weeks and fucking 2 days, 3 days. We got time. And in bodybuilding, that's a fucking long time. I shit you not.
Yeah. Well, the aim is to reverse into show, which is that's always the aim. That's how I like, same thing with my clients. Like, doesn't always happen, but yeah, like reversing. Yeah, you plan to reverse into the show. So people always ask, like, what's a good rate of loss? And honestly, like, I would say it's around like 500 grams. If you're dipping up towards the 1 kilo mark per week, that's a bit too much. Like, you tend to see athletes flatten off quite fast. And of course, like, we want to hold on to that full, dense poppy tissue. If you lose it too fast, then you flatten off and look a bit skinny. So when you're kind of like, when you're thinking about a prep in terms of like trying to work out how long you need, well, I would say like 500 grams, half a kilo or a pound per week.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to aim to reverse into it for the last 2 weeks, and then minus peak week, because peak week's not a digging week. No. And then probably 2 weeks for fuck up room if you get sick or something happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, how long you should be catering for a prep. So if you're going way above, like, in terms of how much body fat you're putting on, then you've got to be quite careful and be quite realistic, because if you have a lot of body fat to pull off and you're not allowing for all that time, and mentally if you're not able to pull through that amount of time in a prep too, then like it's kind of your responsibility in a way, right? It's your responsibility to make sure you're in a good position. You're in a position ready to start a prep, right? Like your coach can flog you, but they don't want to do that, and you don't want to do that. Trust me.
No, you don't want to do that. No, like you say, it's like, this is when the off season is where it matters. It does. Like, I think that's one of the things. Like, as much as I gained body fat, it was nowhere near the amount that I gained last time, just because there was more structure to the off season. There was more adherence. There was a better high standard there throughout an 18-month period. So everyone focuses on a prep. I'm like, nah, You need to spend a good amount of time in an off season with a coach, or like a recomp phase, off season, prep. And like you say, that's when you can kind of connect with someone, regardless if that's an athlete, if that's just a mum, a dad, whoever that is. You want to have spent time understanding that person, understanding their triggers and how their mindset works and stuff like that, and understanding how to get the most out of their mindset and body. So then when you do come to a dieting phase or a prep, it's a lot smoother. It's a lot smoother because you've embedded these habits and routines. You don't have to teach someone right now. You need to just make sure you drink. Like, no, we shouldn't be doing this now. You should just be like executing from this point.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
especially this day and age, and where the standard of competitors are these days. Like, you absolutely have to.
You have to be doing this 24/7 for fucking 15 years. Like, people are good at this shit now.
Yeah, well, not probably to that extent. Don't scare everyone. Like, there's obviously some element of balance you can have.
Oh no,
is important for an off season.
Oh yeah.
But
off-season,
I mean, you can't hire a coach and expect to just start working with them at the beginning of your prep at 16, 20 weeks out. I never take on a client unless I've done an off season with them, or at least a few months worth of an off season before going into a prep. And like, yeah, back in the day when I started competing, like you could do that, right? Oh, I want to compete. Cool. I'm going to hire this coach. I want this one from the USA because they coach Miss Bikini Olympia. It was, and then come into show, right? But this day and age, no, you cannot absolutely do that. Even at an amateur level, the girls, you need to be putting in like the building in the off season. And
that's kind of when prep coaching was a thing, wasn't it? Someone just did a prep coach. Like, you went to this person for prep and things like that. Yeah, now you don't really get that sort of stuff. Like you say, it's very important to understand the person that you're working with, because a lot of people's barriers and issues when it comes to training and nutrition actually stems from their environment. It stems to their jobs, their families, all this sort of stuff. So you actually need to understand, like, who is this person? What makes them tick? How's your partner? How's the job? Is it busy at the moment? How's stress load and things like that? Because once you can understand that and deal with those stresses, then it makes a prep, a dieting phase a lot smoother on the individual. And like you say, it keeps them more relaxed, keeps their cortisol nice and low, and it makes them fucking enjoy it. It makes them enjoy it. Like you say, you don't have to slug them. Be like, right, fucking put your calories down by 1,000, fucking 50 minutes of cardio. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that sort of stuff when you do it in a controlled manner over a longer period of time.
Yep. Like, not only that we get to know your body, but like it's also very important to build a relationship with your coach, with someone. Like, what I've obviously been competing for a very long time, for nearly a decade. It'll be a decade this year.
Jesus.
And what really separates a great prep versus like not the greatest prep is like how well you work with your coach, how well they know you, all those external things that affect your prep, like you know, your habits and things as well, even down to like traumas, to be quite honest. Like, of course, like when like we were talking yesterday how like a client of mine, we've worked together, I think it's nearly 4 years now, and the goal in the first place was she wanted to get on stage, she wanted to compete. Anyway, long story short, 4 years later, I think this is the fourth or fifth time we've worked together, with like, you know, 4 or 5 breaks in between, and our aim is to get on stage in season A. And she, once again, she did tell me, she's like, oh, I don't think I'm going to do it. It's not the right time. And because I knew her quite well already, from working and understanding with her so long, and we've built that relationship, I was like, no, like if it's not the right time, it's not the right time. But I think you're continuously self-sabotaging yourself, and you're always putting everyone else before yourself. Like, I actually don't think that it's the wrong time for you. I think you're just going back into your old habits and ways of like...
It's like comfort for her.
Yeah, just self-sabotaging constantly, right? And people self-sabotage all the time. But mental health and everything, like all those things come into play massively, especially when you're coaching someone at an elite level. Look at Simone Biles, right? Like she's got a Netflix series on her that's literally just talking about how or her previous traumas and or her mental health affected her on the day at the Olympics, right? Like massive day in her career. And it wasn't until she went and worked on that and was strong mentally, she could come back and be the elite athlete that she needed to be. And that's what it comes down to when you want to be an elite athlete.
Yeah, 100%. Like anything, like you say, you wouldn't have been able to, if you were working with that girl for 2 months before, you wouldn't have been able to say that to her to an extent. It's the fact you knew her so well and being like, you're actually sabotaging yourself, hun. Like, this is your time. Like, it's your time to really do this. And because you've worked together for a long period of time, she respects you, she trusts you. And people want the truth. People are hiring us for the truth and a result. And they need that transparency, because not many people, like, this is why, like I could never coach you because I'm emotionally involved into you, right? So like, you need someone that's going to tell you quite harshly, be like, no, this is it. I'll tell you in a nice way, but I'm never going to force you to do things, because like, I love you and I respect you in that way. And it's not my place to say. So her partner would never say it, or people around her, but her coach being like, you can fucking do this. Don't get in your own way of achieving something you've wanted for the last 4 years. It's the same, like, again, like you dive into Simone, it's in order to, your mindset is just like a muscle. We need to train it. I think sometimes, like, get therapy, get help, talk to someone, because it's a way, coaching, like you say, build a relationship with your coach, because they'll help you build a stronger mindset, which will allow for the body to respond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think this day and age, like, it's so undervalued how much, because like you've obviously got coaches that like just produce massive numbers, right?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, when you've got massive numbers like that, they don't know you.
No.
They don't know the important things that are actually going to affect you in a prep, right?
Yeah.
Like anyone can give you a training program or a nutrition program, and like, you know, like ones that are more experienced and a bit more skilled, yeah, they're gonna know a bit more and can have a better plan. But if they've got a massive team, probably going to be cookie cutter, to be quite honest, and you're going to have the same plan as everyone else. But when you have a coach that understands how you works and how you work, and okay, why is this person constantly, you know, why is their fatigue management so shit? Why is their cortisol so shit? Like, why are they responding? Like, why are we having to constantly try and drop calories and give them more cardio? Because if it's obviously cortisol, it's the issue in the first place. It's just like, cool, okay, like, it's don't need to keep digging you further. We need to fix this, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you need someone that, the best coach you can have is someone that's going to actually understand and dig deeper into,
to understand and care about you. I think it's the biggest thing. There's nothing better when a coach generally, like, I did it like when I was like, you want to do your coach proud. And it's the same, like, if my coach is happy, I'm fucking happy. And then vice versa. I had a client saying the same thing to me, but like, that was the best check-in I've ever had. Like, I want to do you proud. That's everything. When like, this is for me, but I'm also doing this for you. I'm doing this prep for you because it's making me a better person. I'm doing this prep for my coach. I'm doing it for these people around me. And when you can have that relationship with someone, it's very special, because getting in shape's like, it's cool. But it's the mental shit that you learn along the way. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And again, that's why you brought on Jess, because you can only take on a certain amount of people, because your eye is fucking obsessive how good your eye is for certain things. So you can only work with a certain amount of people at the standard that you want to. Yeah, you could take on 100, 200, 300 clients, but you'd never be able to give the energy that you give to them. So you have to bring someone else on who's just as amazing as you are to give energy to more women.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No, that's it. Yeah, I got a 5-minute warning from him. That's flown, isn't it? Just because we were late. So, is there anything else you want to dive into? I feel like there's a lot. I feel like we could just keep this running for 2 hours and have a great conversation. Yeah. But it's good that we obviously keep booking them and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I think our brain's a little bit prep brain at the moment. We had a lot coming in. But prep's great.
It's Groundhog Day, isn't it? It's just, do you know what? I think I said this on my stories or something. I'm just like, I just love it. I love this life. So it feels really nice to do this prep, to feel like we have a home together. We have Cora. It just feels really nice. So to go to the coffee shops in the morning, do our cardio. Yeah, it's fucking tiring, and we're tired a lot of time. And do those things annoy you? Yeah, 100%. But I am happy, and it feels good. It feels really good, and I'm enjoying it.
One thing I did want to touch on is because we're at the end of the competition season for the amateurs in Australia. So if anyone's not from Australia or doesn't understand how it works in Australia, basically there's like 2 main seasons per year, right? Everyone else in the world, they have shows spread out all throughout the year. In Australia, we just have 2. Anyway, so we're basically in the middle of the competition season at the moment. And I've seen a lot of recent announcements of people that are quite good athletes, like they're completely dropping out of bodybuilding.
And like packing it in type of thing.
Yeah, like
really?
They've pretty much finished the whole entire prep. They're in condition, right, a few weeks out, and then all of a sudden they're not doing the show anymore, and then they're moving on from bodybuilding. From an outside point of view, it makes me sad to start off with, but like it's these athletes that are doing this, it's because it's like most of the time it's burnout, right? It's absolute burnout. From what I see is like people, if they're treating the whole entire off season like a prep, and they're going into a prep and being so restrictive, like people are being overly restrictive and doing too much in preps and off seasons, right? So of course, like if you feel like if you were so perfect in a prep, off season, then of course, like your prep going to feel like a freaking 18 or 24 month prep. Like it is so important. We mentioned this on the podcast last episode, but it is so important to have the balance with off season and prep. Like know what you need to do in off season, know what you need to do in a prep, and then they balance each other out. That's like, you can't be perfect all the time. No. We're human. You need balance. Your mental health needs your mental health. It needs your friends. It needs your family. It needs your soul food and your friggin' like, your nice enjoyable events and meals out. Like understand that your mental health is also like very important, and your off seasons, go enjoy life, go travel, go have like off plan meals as part of your routine. Because I know there is some coaches out there, and a previous coach of mine, we were expected to be to the team in off season, and I freaking got burnt out, like very burnt out. And
I've seen how lean you were. I've seen how lean you were in some of your off seasons.
After I won my pro card, I was perfect to the T the whole entire off season, like for a very, very long time until I got on stage again. And then after that, I was just like, of course you're going to question, like, is bodybuilding for me? Like, do I want to do this? Am I happy? And then, like, luckily, I got over that phase and came back to it, to bodybuilding. But I was just purely burnt out. And this is what a lot of people are missing, and a lot of good potential and great athletes are missing out on, because I think they need to be that perfect to the T.
Yeah.
When you really don't.
I think as well, it's kind of like, I think you say everyone wants to be perfect, and maybe that's probably social medias nowadays, trying to be like everyone's nailing it all the time, when the truth is like it doesn't work like that, and like no one's nailing it all the time. You're just doing it to the best of your ability every day. But like you say, like I think it's being excited. Like you say, like I'm so excited to be like, hey, we're 6 weeks out, it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna start looking at Airbnb, so that next chapter's coming up. Then it's being like, hey, we're going to go to London and we're going to spend a bit of time there. Let's eat. Let's go to some markets. Being excited for each chapter, being excited to be like, right, this is how we're going to structure off. So we're going to go for a good period of time. We're going to go out, send you like, Chipotle's opening up in Dubai. Let's go to Chipotle. Being excited for different phases in your life, because it's about this fitness and bodybuilding. It should be a lifestyle. It should be part of your lifestyle. And it's just knowing, 100%. In preps, be more aggressive. But then in your off season, be 60, be 70, be 80%. And that's it, because you have to do that for a lot longer. So just be 60 to 80% and then prep. Then you can be 100% for 20 minutes, for 20 weeks.
Yeah. As long as you're killing it in the gym and you're not getting too fat, like that's what off season is.
Yeah.
You're meant to be growing and also refreshing, your personal life, your mental health, all those things as well.
Yeah.
But absolutely right. Like you need to set chapters, right? And like you gotta put in the work in some chapters. Like if you want to achieve anything in life, like if you want to build a big business, or even when you start a business, like you need to, you're working.
Got to pull the all-nighters.
You're working
sometimes.
7 days a week when you're trying to start a business. Trust me, like it's not easy starting a business, but yeah, break down to chapters. Like, cool, yeah, I'm in prep. This last 6 weeks, it's going to be a grind because, like, as we know, like we're starting to feel it now. And you get to that point where you're like, oh, struggling, not as enjoying it at the moment, but it's not forever. It's 6 weeks, and then we have more chapters to come to look forward to.
I think that's when just being present really helps, isn't it? It's just being like, okay, what do I need to do today to be the best? And then so it allows me to be the best tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Just focusing on the hour in front of us. That's all it comes down to. So no, that's it. I know we're going to get kicked out soon. So anyway, guys, this is 6 weeks out. We're
6 weeks out.
We're coming. Espanol coming up soon. Sunday.
What do you predict your stage weight's going to be?
Dry, shredded, full. I don't know, man. If I was anything from 83 to 85 kilos, I'll be very happy. That's a good amount of muscle built.
Yeah. Okay. How many kilos up from your last stage weight is that?
If I was 83, it'd still be 5 kilos up.
Yeah. Okay. I'm 56 at the moment. I'm predicting 53, maybe 53 and a half, maybe 54. Yeah. When I won my pro card, I was 53.
Okay. So a little bit fuller and more muscle from there, probably.
Yeah. You can see the difference between males and females. We don't build muscle that much muscle very fast, but so 53 to 54. I'm predicting I'll be on stage this time.
No. In 2 weeks' time, we'll give you a closer target to where we're at. But no, it's amazing to do this with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think we need to wrap it up there.
That's it. Cool, guys. Thanks. And we'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next podcast.